Okay, honors pre-calc. We actually did this problem yesterday, so we're going to skip past that one. If you've got your note sheet and you're following along while you're watching the video, we've already done that problem. So we're going to move on to this problem now. So here we're going to verify the identity. Remember, when you verify, you only work on one side of the equal sign, and you're just trying to show why one side actually equals the other. And typically what we do is work on the more complicated side because we have more to work with. Now, please remember, you are not allowed to distribute. So we are not going to distribute the cosine through. That's incorrect because we are not multiplying by cosine. That is why we have the sum and difference formulas. So you might want to get out your unit circle sheet and look at the sum and difference formulas again. Okay, so for this problem, I could call pi over 2 u, and I could call x v, and I would be looking for the formula for cosine u minus v. So if you look at that formula, it says we're going to do cosine of u cosine v plus sine u sine v. So in this case, cosine u would be cosine pi over 2. Cosine v would be cosine x plus sine of u, so that would be sine of pi over 2, times sine of v, so that would be sine of x. Now, those pi over 2's are angles on the unit circle. So I can go to pi over 2 and know that the value of cosine is 0. X is not on the unit circle, so I'm just going to leave that as a cosine x for the moment. Sine of pi over 2 is 1. And I still have that sine x there. So I have 0 times cosine plus 1 times sine. Well, 0 times cosine is 0, and 1 times sine would just be sine x. And that is what I was trying to show the whole time. So I did nothing over here on the right side. I was only working on the left side until it became a sine x. All right, let's try another one. Okay, another verifying problem. Again, we cannot just distribute, so we are not going to distribute cosine through. That would be incorrect. We need to use our sum and difference formulas. So I have a cosine u plus v, and I have a cosine u minus v. And actually, I think I will color code these so you can see it a little bit better. So this first one right here, cosine u plus v, following the formula, it would be cosine x cosine y minus sine x sine y. Again, we're replacing the u's and the v's with the x's and the y's. And then we have this plus sign, which is going to carry down. And then I'm going to follow the formula for cosine of u minus v. So that says to do cosine x cosine y plus sine x sine y. All right, now look at what we have here. The negative sine x sine y and the positive sine x sine y, those will cancel because one's negative and one's positive. And then I'm left with cosine x cosine y and another cosine x cosine y. I have a total of 2 of those things, 2 of those cosine x, cosine y's. And that's what I was trying to show. So I'm done. Okay, verifying we only work on one side. All right, let's try another one. Okay, very similar problem here, except this is not a verifying problem. This is a solving problem. Okay, again, we cannot distribute cosine through, so we have to treat this like a u and a v. Okay, so I'm going to use my cosine u plus v formula. So I do cosine u, which would be cosine x, times cosine v, which would be cosine pi over 6, minus sine u, which is sine x, times sine v, which would be sine of pi over 6. Now, here's where you need to be careful. We're going to be subtracting an entire quantity. So this statement here, I should put in parentheses. And this is going to be a cosine u minus v statement. So this will be cosine x cosine pi over 6 plus sine x sine pi over 6. I'm going to move those parentheses. I need a little bit more room. Okay, and all of that is equal to 1. Now, it was really important to put parentheses around that whole quantity because I need to distribute this negative sign through. So just rewriting, I'd have cosine x cosine pi over 6 minus sine x sine pi over 6. Distributing the negative through, minus cosine x cosine pi over 6 minus sine x sine pi over 6 equals 1. Okay, do you see how this term right here and this term right here will cancel because one's a positive and one's a negative? And then this term and this term are the same. So I have negative 2 sine x sine pi over 6's, and those equal 1. I have 2 of them. They happen to both be negative. So negative 1 minus 1 more is negative 2. Sine pi over 6, that's an angle on the unit circle sheet. So I can go to pi over 6 and I can see that the value of sine there is 1/2. And remember, you're multiplying here. So I can multiply the negative 2 times the 1/2 and get a negative 1 sine x. And I can divide that negative out and get sine x equals negative 1. And I'm trying to get x alone, so I need to take the inverse sine of negative 1. So look on your unit circle sheet. Where do you get a negative 1 for sine? That happens at 3 pi over 2. And that's your solution. So we're combining our sum and difference formulas today, but we're taking them and we're verifying and solving. So it's kind of a mixture of the new stuff with old stuff. This next page, what I want you to do is rip this last page off of your note sheet and try these 2 problems. These are solving problems. So try these 2 problems and turn them in. Make sure you put your name on it. Okay. And I just want to see how you're doing. If you want to work with someone, that's fine, but each do your own work and turn them in. Okay. So today, I believe you have a worksheet for homework. You can work on that now after you turn these 2 problems in. All right. Have a good day.